Hello my fellow pen enthusiasts, Aaron here with another pen news video, and pretty excited to bring some of these pens to you. And so I've got really about 3 different specific pens that I'm going to share today, and then stay tuned at the end. I've got some different pen mail items that I'm going to share with you as well, but I'll do those at the very end. So basically, we're going to jump right into it and go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to be looking down at my computer screen, sharing some of these images that I have. So the first one that I have on here is a pen that is on Bobby Pen's Etsy website. And I'm going to pop the first image up here. Now, I saw this on his Instagram feed. Generally, it's a really great place to see some of the newer pen launches. And so you see 4 pens that pop up here. First thing when I saw it, I'm not gonna lie, I thought, okay, is this a new Moonman launch? And really my eyes gravitated specifically to that blue pen because I have the Moonman N3 and that same type of acrylic or resin material. So that's the first thing I thought. But these are actually, at least from what I can tell, are not Moonman pens. They're made by a fountain pen company, and if I butcher the name, I apologize, called Zizai, and that is Z-I-Z-A-I. And I think that is the correct pronunciation. Now, these are, I think, very attractive materials. And for instance, you'll see we have a green one, a blue one, looks like kind of a copperish brown one, and then a white one. So definitely 4 nice colors. We've got more of a traditional clip on these pens, which is a ball-styled clip. Now, to me, it almost looks like it could be a piston filler, or at least mimic the idea of a piston filler. In this case, it more mimics that idea. This is actually a cartridge converter pen. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the next pick, and this is going to show our nibs. Some of you may be excited about this, some of you may not. So we do have Schmidt nibs here. These are your standard number 5 Schmidt gold tone nibs. Now we see the section as well, so we can of course kind of look at that. Looks like there's a little bit of a slight step down to the section. It looks like it has somewhat of a nice concave, so it would be interesting to see how comfortable it is to hold in the hand if this is a pen that interests you. Now, I did order one of these pens. I actually ordered the green one, which is the next image I'm going to pop up. Once I saw that green material, I thought it was very, very attractive. I have the Moonman N3, as I stated before, in that same type of blue material, which I may grab out here in a moment and kind of show comparisons. Now, you can tell with the cap there, it looks like we have a gold jewel type finial at the top. Probably has some type of structure to hold that clip together. I know some people are like ball clips, some don't. I think they're probably at least one of the more functional clips as far as getting in and out of a shirt pocket. But really just looking at the pen, it's a nice looking pen. Now on the website, it shows that the pen's about 145 millimeters in its capped form. So not a small pen necessarily. I think a nice length. Moving on to the next image we have here, we see that blue pen. Again, has some very nice coloring in it. So I went ahead and grabbed my N3 just to kind of show some of that coloring. You'll notice, I mean, there are some definite similarities in the material, if it not the exact same material to an extent. So, you know, this I think is a beautiful material. I would love to see, I've wanted to see this type of material used on other fountain pens. So I think that's kind of something that drew me to this. I was going to get the blue one just to kind of compare it first, but once I saw the green one, I really like the copper one as well. I really like all 4 colors. I don't have any complaints whatsoever. Let's take a look now at the copper brown one. I think this one again is another very, very attractive material. The pen looks really nice. Now the white one kind of an ivory type color. Maybe not so much ivory, more on the white side. It definitely has some darker colors and textures in the actual pen. But I think it again is another very attractive pen. Not a big fan of like white per se on a fountain pen, so probably wouldn't be my first choice, but I do think it's a nice pen. Now, again, kind of going back to the pricing, this pen is $48. That's one of the downsides that I've noticed when you go with pens like this that have that Schmidt nib. Seems to drive that price point up. I don't know if it's because they're importing the nibs or how that really works for sure. But I definitely think that could be a little bit of a deterrent for some people. I know some are not huge fans of the Schmidt nib. In my opinion, if I've gotten great Schmidt nibs, I've gotten poor nibs. But in my opinion, I can switch out the nib pretty easily. I think the materials are very attractive. Again, it is on Bobby's Etsy website. Always bear in mind, he's going to charge you about $1 for shipping, so not much. So add that to the price, so $49, and then potentially, of course, taxes and things of that nature. But every transaction I've ever had with Bobby has been excellent. So check out the pen if it's something that interests you. Now, we're actually going to stick again with Bobby. Most of this video is going to be associated around some of Bobby's new pen launches. The next one that I have here is the Zizai Pocket Fountain Pen. Now, this is a pen that measures about 90 millimeters in its capped form. And in the description, I'm actually going to post a link to a video. That is actually from Bobby's YouTube account. So if you aren't following Bobby or aren't subscribed to his YouTube channel, definitely subscribe. He posts a lot of different videos on there, just kind of showing some of his pens, his nibs, and different things like that as well. So this one, we see that we have 5 very attractive colors. Again, these are on the smaller side. On the video, it's actually pretty interesting. It looks like the actual body of the pen is actually completely made out of metal. And then it looks like it has almost like a sleeve or a cover, which is that it looks like acrylic or resin type material. Now, I know for some of you, metal sections are probably not something that you would be too crazy about. I'm not a big fan of metal sections, at least on all the pens that I've ever owned that have metal sections. This is not a pen that I've ordered. Now, as you can tell in this first image, it does again come with a Schmidt nib. So the question is, what does that do to the price of the pen? Here I'm going to pop up another image as we're looking at this one. I think this one is beautiful. It is a kind of light blue and yellow swirls. You see that you've got some black coloring in there as well. I think it is a very attractive resin. I would love to see this on their larger model. I think that resin would be gorgeous in one of their larger pens. Now, the price for this pen, so going back to that, you're going to be looking at about $76 for this pen. Bit of a steep price for me. If I was going to spend that much money, I would probably get a different fountain pen. There's still other ones that I want to get, like the Moonman M600, the Hero H718 that I still haven't ordered yet. Those are going to be closer to that price range, and I'd probably spend my money on one of those pens versus this one. But it might interest some of you out there. You'll notice that I haven't mentioned this yet, I'm going to pop up another image here. This is kind of the pink version. Again, got some brown texturing in the color. I think just a very nice, attractive material. And this one, it does have the I love you on the both the barrel, it looks like, and the cap as well. And you'll notice you've got kind of an interesting cap finial up there made out of metal. So again, another interesting setup. Let's look at another image, kind of look at all these colors individually. This one again is, I think, another attractive material in a green kind of black milky texture. I think the green is a nice green. It really pops, I think, with the black coloring in there. Again, another color that I would love to see on one of their larger pens as well. Now, before I pop up any other images, if any of you know more about this company, I haven't really asked Bobby a lot of questions about it yet, but if any of you know more about the company or a little bit more well-versed, please share. Are they somehow related to, I don't want to say Moon Man, but one of the other larger fountain pen companies, or is this some newer company that we're seeing kind of coming onto the scene? So popping up another one here is a nice red image. Kind of zooming in a little bit, at least on my laptop. Kind of looks like it has some texturing in the image, or at least in the acrylic, I'm sorry. I think that's, again, gives the acrylic some depth, makes it really attractive, probably be really nice in person. Looks a little bit plain on the screen in my opinion, but I think it would probably be a material that looks even better in person. So if you're a real big fan of red, might be something that looks really nice. And then the last image, here's a nice, I think, gorgeous purple material. So if you were looking for a color similar to that, might be something that you would like. I mean, this is a pen that I think, you know, definitely has its place. It can fit inside of a pocket, it can fit in a backpack easily, it can fit in a purse easily, and I think it's got some really nice, attractive materials. You know, probably a pen that you could take places with you and not be too worried about. But the only issue I see is just the price point being as high as it is, and not knowing as much about the brand per se, as far as quality goes. Another thing with this pen, it is just a cartridge setup. It does come with cartridges. So from what I could tell in the video and what it looked like is it looked like they were just loaded with black ink. So your basic black ink cartridges, hopefully standard international. So you could always fill those cartridges with something else. You could possibly find a mini converter that would work. I'm not going to say that would work, but maybe the Moonman N2 converter. I don't know how that would fit in there though, and if it would even work at all. So, and I'm probably not going to spend $76 to test that out. I'm not going to lie. So, but I did want to share this. I think they're cool pens, interesting design. I think there are some people that will probably enjoy these pens. Not something for me per se, but I do think that they have their place. Now, moving on to the next pen, and this is one that I think all of us have been anticipating and anxiously waiting for the launch, and we're seeing them now coming available to the Western market. And that is the Wingsung 3013. That is the vacuum filler, the vacuumatic fountain pen. So we've actually got a model number now. I'm posting the first image up here. Now these are not Bobby's images. Bobby did release this pen on Aliexpress, and I will post up a link to his Aliexpress store. I'm assuming he's going, so he only launched I think like 13 fountain pens on this initial launch. Now his pens do have different nibs on them, which usually that means that they're probably, he's already tested them, they're going to work very well. So that is one really good benefit. His also sold for like $8 to $10 a piece. The images I'm posting up here is from another seller on eBay. Their pens are going for around $12 to $15 a piece, so Bobby's are definitely cheaper. So always bear that in mind. But I think they're really cool looking. So here we see the full acrylic clear transparent version. As you can tell in this image, it does have a transparent feed, so whatever ink you use, that feed is going to mimic that color. So I think that's really cool. Here's a second image. This is just kind of showing the pen filled with ink. And of course you can kind of see that nib on there, which we'll get another close-up view of that nib. Now this, I'm assuming, is going to be the nib that most of us would receive with the pen. Now again, if you order from Bobby, you're going to be getting a different nib, so this is not a depiction of what you'd get from Bobby. But here we see the Wingsung nib that these pens do come with. A little bit different. Expecting it to be kind of a little bit more of that pilot nib, like what we initially saw from Bobby, but this one different. But I think again, it's a pretty nice looking nib. It is an extra fine. So I think they have them in extra fine and fine. Now Bobby had them available in extra fine, fine, and medium. So there were 3 different nib sizes available. We'll see if he's able to keep that going with his next launch of these pens and see if those nib sizes will stay consistent. Now here's another color. This is a transparent purple pen. I think a really cool material. It's cool to see it in a couple different colors as well from Wingsung. So again, fully transparent, but in a purple color, which again, I think is awesome. And then we see the third and final color here. This is a transparent brown or amber color, kind of reminiscent of the Pilot Custom 823 that is in that amber or brown hue. So again, really cool pens. Nice to see that there's Wingsung's doing something else. They've been, like I was saying in past pen news videos, been a little bit quiet this year. They've launched some different colors within some of their pens, updated some others, but nothing really crazy. So it's nice to see that they're doing something. And I think these pens seem to be pretty popular so far. They're selling out really fast. So go on eBay and check it out if you really are anxiously waiting one. But always remember, more than likely these pens are going to get restocked. Prices are going to fluctuate probably, so there's going to be opportunities. If you didn't get it in this first launch, just be patient. You'll probably get it in the next one. All right, so really that concludes the pens that I'm sharing today. There's some other ones out there that I kind of wanted to talk about, but I didn't want to spend too much time. I think these three are at least for me, really awesome. And I wanted to share them. Really exciting to see a different pen brand as well. And it's also exciting that we're seeing Bobby introducing that pen brand to us. And if anybody, again, has more information about that pen brand, please share it with all of us down in the comment section. Now, with that being said, kind of jump in now to some of the pen mail that I received. And I got all of this actually, for the most part, today. So the first thing I'm going to show you is we see a 456 here. And this is a pen I've already done a review on. Love this pen. But I was wanting to do something different with the nib on this pen. And so that's exactly what I did. So I've been following Pendleton's pens on eBay for the longest time. So Pendleton Brown. And I've actually got a business card here that was sent with my purchase. So there you can see that. And of course, he was very, very kind to write on the back of it, which I thought was great. And with all of his purchases, he also sends you, and I don't have it in front of me. Sorry, not prepared clearly. But you get a writing sample with the pen or nib that you purchased that he does with that actual pen or nib. So I think that's really cool. So the nib that I purchased is actually a TWSBI nib. And it was the last one that he had available. And it's a TWSBI number 6 nib. And it's an extra fine nib that he has ground to a, he calls his BLS italic, which is the butterline stub italic nib. Now this one, he's also added his flex, his Falcon flex, so to speak. And I bought it with the idea of trying to get it to fit onto a PenBBS pen, specifically this 456, which to my amazement, it worked. And I'm very, very excited about that. I kept looking at the images online and trying to compare it, of course, to a PenBBS nib to see if it would work. And then I got one of my TWSBI number 6 nibs out, compared those to the PenBBS, played with them on the feeds, and I thought, okay, I think I can make this work. And I figured if nothing else, I could put it on my TWSBI pen if it didn't work, and I'd be happy either way. Now you'll see kind of how he grinds that nib. You'll see we've got that shoulder. He's kind of taken out a piece of it. And he's also got two little like flare grinds in the nib as well. Now, of course, I will do a review on this. I just put in this pen today. I've literally written probably a a paragraph so far with the nib. I want to write with it for a couple weeks, see how it, you know, so to speak, breaks in, and see if I really like the nib. And of course, I will do a review on it as well. Now, in addition to that, same thing I got today. I was really excited when I went out to my mailbox. I got a PenBBS pen. Now, this is, they updated their packaging, and I didn't even know that this was going to happen. And so when you get your package, I was a little bit deceived when I went out to my mailbox. I saw this really kind of thinner cardboard box, because you know, normally when you order from PenBBS official store, you get a little bit fatter box because they're The PenBBS coffins are pretty big. This one was thinner, and I thought, okay, it looks like the same box, but I'm like, did I get the right thing? And then I open it up, and to my surprise, totally new packaging. So this is the PenBBS 268. This is the transparent one. I'm gonna open it up and just show you guys the package. I'm not gonna do a review on it, of course, just wanted to share it with you. Now I just gotta get it open, of course. Packaging to me is a little bit reminiscent of TWSBI or even Moonman. So we've got the frosted look now on the package, and then we've of course got the image of the pen on the back. And of course it says 268, if I can get it to focus. It's my lighting in this room. Now take the pen out real quick. Of course it comes in a little plastic sleeve, and then here's the pen. So fully transparent pen. Now, I'm not going to do any sizing comparisons right now to the 456. This is not a review of this pen, of course, but I did want to show it to you. I'm going to ink it up, of course, write with the pen for a while. I've got other reviews that I'm working on right now, and then, of course, stay tuned for another fountain pen review on this specific pen. So, pretty excited about that. I got a couple other things in the mail just recently as well. Big fan, I've got so many notebooks. I don't ever do any reviews on notebooks or paper necessarily, but one of my favorite papers is Tomoe River paper. So I ordered one of these. I think these are A5 notebooks. I always get the sizing mixed up. But just little journal notebooks that are really great, and Tomoe River paper is awesome. This is 52 gram. Well, I think the other one, the little thicker gram that has like 68 gram that I have on a couple of mine. I like the 52 gram. It just feels really nice and light. I feel like I get better sheening on it. The only downside is because it's so thin, you do get some show through, or even, was it ghosting? Ghosting is what I was looking for. Everyone, that pretty much concludes this video. Let me know down in the comment sections what you think about the two new pens. My next video, I'm working on the Moonman M600S as we speak. That will probably be my next actual video review, so be looking for that. It'll be coming out in the next couple days, but I'm really excited. As soon as I get the Zizai fountain pen in the mail, of course I will share it with you, and then of course start working on a review. Hopefully that nib is great. And then let me guys know in the comment section what you think about those new pens, and if you've already ordered one, or if you just know more information about the company, because I would love to know. I didn't find a lot online about the company, so there wasn't a lot to share. Until next time, everyone, take care, and I will gladly see you later. Bye-bye.